this week, but overall it's been good, really good. Thank you.
That's right, teacher.
How about you, Mickey? How you been?
Great, teacher. Yesterday was my dad's birthday. Uh, we were with him. What else? And yeah, teacher. Besides that, everything's normal.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. I sent him a message. I think he got it. And well, we continue growing and aging.
Yeah, he's now 60.
Oh, 60? I thought he
60.
had turned 59. I thought he
No,
was younger than me.
no, yeah. He. Uh, I think so. Yeah, I think 60. Yeah, 60.
Okay, I had the idea that he was a few months younger than me. I'm from September. Next September, I'll be turning 62. This coming September. But I had the ideas that he was younger. But then he's a few months older than I am. Well,
Mhm.
we're all together in the same wagon.
Yeah, teacher. That's right.
Very nice, Mickey. I noticed that you were friends with Alex. That's a great sensation that I had when I saw the picture.
Yes, teacher. I met him when we were in the preparatory, and I
Is
think
that
that
so? Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
since then, I think that we were in the same group like 1 year, but
Okay.
obviously we knew each other before for friends in common, and I haven't seen him until this week for a long time, and yeah, it was good
Okay.
to chat with him. He's a good person.
Yeah, very nice kid. Very correct. I met him when he was, I think, 8 or 9 year old kid at Colegio del Bosque.
Hmm.
He was extremely well educated. He was very attentive when he was a kid, and he continues to be like that. And he would be the only one who would say, "Hello, teacher. Good morning. How are you?" And he would come to at the end of the class and greet me again. They're really polite. That's strange for a kid. I mean, I'm not surprised with kids, with young men or women like well, you other people who are very polite, very nice. But that's a bit surprising. It was a bit surprising for me that he was so young and so attentive. Really outstanding in terms of being polite. So when I saw that picture of you and him in that restaurant, I said, "Well, look how small a world we live in."
Yes, yeah, and actually, I remember. Well, it was a long time ago that I went, or I don't remember if I took class there with you in your school, or was my I don't know if my sister or my mom. I don't remember exactly, and I remember that he was there taking classes. I didn't know that he continued taking classes.
He made a stop for a while and then he came back recently. And starting in January, I think he got a job in a workshop on Saturdays.
Hmm.
He said that he was going to try to get a permit like for a couple of hours or 3 hours, like from 9:30 to 12:30.
Hmm.
But apparently he couldn't because he has to go to this workshop like from nine to this place. I think it's a workshop. I'm not sure, but I think it
Yeah,
is
I think so.
from 9 to 5:30 or 6 every day, and then on Saturdays like from 8 or 9 to 2, I believe, half a day.
Hmm. Yeah, he told me that, and he told me that unfortunately, he and other of the workers there was were fired
Oh,
in the
really?
yeah this week actually. Yeah,
Oh,
he was.
really? Wow.
Yeah, I think that that was the reason why he wanted to talk with somebody because, to be honest, he purchased a pair of sneakers, obviously, uh, from me like 2 weeks ago, and then he sent me a message and he told me if I wanna hang out, and I told him yes, and yeah, it was one of the things that he mentioned. But the good part is that he's so like so positive, and he's like trying to find other ways to obviously continue working. But yeah, he mentioned that. And I think that he was just He was just working like for 1 week or two. I don't remember. Yeah,
Oh, how unfortunate.
yeah,
Well, I'm truly sad to hear this because he's a truly good guy too. Yeah, he's
he
a
is.
good kid. And when I had an issue with one of the clients in what's this small town in Victoria de Cortázar, close to Yuridia. No, it's a small town, very very small town close to Cortázar, which is not Victoria de Cortázar. What is the name of this small town? Well, it's between it's beyond Celaya and beyond Villagrán. It's a very very small town where the Cerro de Culiacán is.
Mm,
Well, I had a client over there, and he wouldn't pay me. I made a project for him where he was going to build a slaughtering house for cows, cattle, bulls, and sacrifices. And I got him 4 million from the government, not as a subsidy or as a financing, but with no retribution. You didn't have to pay it back. He had to put up 4 million, so he had to make an investment of 8 million from himself and from other guy. And he wouldn't pay me. He was supposed to give me 8% of the agreed money that I got him from the government.
mhm.
That's 8% of 4 million. And he just said no. He quit talking to me. He quit receiving my calls, and so I had to look for a lawyer. And I talked to Alex's mom, and she helped me out. Very, very nice, very professional, really, really professional job that she did, and we won the case.
That's great, teacher.
Yeah, Alex's mom helped me win that case, so I'm very grateful to them because I was able to finalize successfully this legal situation.
Of course. I didn't know that his mom was lawyer. I knew that she works in the police, I think so, or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
the federal police. She had to move there not long ago. Well, let me see now. Maybe some 5 or 6 years, maybe seven. But yeah, the case that we had was in 2013, and it lasted 3 years. It was a
Wow,
long process, but yeah, she helped me out.
that's
Three
great.
years, 3 years lasted that process, but it was successful and yeah, really, really good. So
That's great,
well,
teacher.
just in case, hopefully you never need it, but just in case, Alex's mom is a
Yeah,
very professional attorney.
thank you. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. Hopefully you don't need it, but well, just in case.
Hopefully.
All right, let's take a look at some of the news from last year. Actually, some almost 2 years ago, right? Well, this is politics, and then there is the old phrase, which I don't know. Many people don't like it.
Mhm.
How's the bullets? The strategy. Many people criticize this. Maybe I myself do that. And the cartel violence. There is something about this criticism about cartels, which I, of course, do not agree with. But why nobody, and this is a question for you, to see what you think, why nobody criticize the weapons manufacturers? Manufacturers. Why do you think this doesn't happen? They sell to the police, but they also sell to the criminals, to the cartels. So, but nobody says anything about them. I've never seen that been mentioned, not even mentioned, much less criticized. Why do you think that happens, Mickey?
Um, well, because normally the weapons manufacturers are from US, and it's one of the more profitable businesses that they have. So I think that the way in how they use like news and media, and how they divide like the opinion of people that I don't know criticizes the um like the way of how security works here in Mexico. Forget like what is like the main cause, and yeah, the main cause is like is the weapons manufacturers.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That's one part of the problem. The other is the distributors, local distributors. I mean, the illegal methamphetamines or products uh, get there through local distributors. What about them? Are they innocent? They seem to be complicit, but nobody mentions the local distributors. Everyone says Mexico, Guatemala, Venezuela, Colombia, and what about them? Right? They are the
Mhm.
market. They distribute it. They manufacture the weapons. They sell the weapons to the cartels. It's not like the cartels are using stones or balls, right? They're using high power armament
Mhm.
that they manufacture, but nobody mentions that. Also, the local distributors, don't you think? Or what was your take on this, Mickey?
Yeah, obviously, it is a mess. I remember one time that I read that in the United States you can purchase a gun since 18 years old, but you can vote until 21. So that type of information, I think that makes you doubt about everything and about, um, yeah, the way how they use media to disinform and divide people. I think that we are in a moment. Uh, we're in a moment where people is like so divided for different things, and
Yeah,
and we don't see like the main causes.
that's true. That there is a huge division. I had never seen so much debate and criticism and fights and arguments and quarrels in the US as recently. I think it's the time where I have seen the most division in the US. What do you think about that, Mickey?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. With the case, there are many things in why United States is divided. Like the speech that the government have against like the immigrants, the attacks of other like, let's say this, not communities but like other ways of thinking. I think that's the same here in Mexico too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the diversity of thoughts or beliefs.
totally.
And well, can we contain this in a way so that it does not get out of control? What do you think? Can- or not? Can they be contained so that they don't get out of control?
No, I consider that the first step to be contained is well, really have like a free speech. You know, that you can say something or share your ideas or beliefs or thoughts, and don't be criticized for that. I think that the issue starts from there because um, in occasions we ignore like the other part, and we just want to impose like our ideas, or in occasions we are like more like alienated to a certain idea, and in occasions we cannot be like totally uh, agree with some things, and we defend it just because it's like, okay, that's my idea, and I don't put in judge uh, other aspects just because I want to believe this, you know.
Right. I agree with you, Mickey, but I admit that, at least in my case, in the case of
Hmm.
many friends,
Hmm.
we are so adhered to certain beliefs that it's hard for us to change overnight, right?
Hmm.
So I have an ideology, I have my ideas, I have my beliefs,
Hmm.
and I know that it's simple to say, well, just change your beliefs. For example, if somebody tells me, don't be a Catholic, become a Muslim, well, it's easy to say, right? Or change religion, become a Jewish, or
Hmm.
go with Buddha. I mean, for the Buddhists, it's easy to say join Buddhism, right?
Of
For
course.
the certain type of people, socialists tell you become a socialist, don't be a capitalist, or a capitalist tells you don't be a socialist, become a capitalist. In other
Hmm.
words, the ideas or beliefs that people have been building for ages, Mickey, for decades, I cannot just come and tell you, Mickey, don't trust in ethics. Ethics doesn't get you anywhere. Just cheat, rob, don't be so honest, don't be so correct. I mean, how can you change something that you've been working on for years?
Hmm.
How do you convince another person to change anything,
Hmm.
anything? Your team, you like American Mickey? How come on, go with Pumas? How do you convince a person of anything, anything you want?
Hmm.
How do you do it?
Yeah, as you mentioned, it is very difficult. I think that yeah, there are like certain beliefs and values that I don't know if something that with you grew up or with you grew up, it's like very difficult to from one day to other uh, eliminate. And I don't think that must be like in that way, but I think that we have like certain ways of thinking that probably we don't analyze it. We just do like we just react or act like in certain way because we are get used to acting that way. I think that uh, from moments, I think that it's good to analyze ourselves and and yeah, for example, yesterday or a day before yesterday, I watched news and I saw what's the name of this girl from Venezuela that is like so popular now, Machado.
Corina Machado.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't know if you,
the one that got the Nobel Peace Prize.
that one. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, Maria Corina Machado. Yes.
Maria Corina Machado. Yeah, I remember more or less that she mentioned that she wanna moved like the Venezuelan. Well, first of all, that she wanna do like more relationships with the minister of Israel. Is what's his name? Is
Netanyahu.
Yeah, exactly, Netanyahu. And I think that at the beginning, when I searched her history and the things that she passed and how she always was like criticizing the government of Maduro, of Chavez too, it was like, okay, that's a girl that wants to, uh, like do like the right things. But when I started to see like this type of information that she's like so pro-Israel, knowing that Israel is doing like a genocide, it's like I don't know, and it was something that at the beginning when I read about her, it was like, oh my god, this girl, sorry, obviously she won a Nobel Prize because for all her history. But now with this type of information, I can more or less like not believe everything, or like try to create my own uh, criteria, if I can say it. And that's what I want to say, that sometimes it's good to do like a research, of what we believe or what we think or the people that we follow or listen, and don't believe everything just because that person say it or way of thinking is saying that is correct, I think.
I believe it's a great idea. I don't know how easy it would be for normal people. I mean, normal. I don't. I have to define normal. I don't know how
Mhm.
easy it would be for people in a day-to-day basis do this introspection and think about the values that you raised with. I mean, you raised with the value of honesty, hard work, decency, honesty, solidarity. I mean, that's in our families. Our families believe in the community. You help yourself, you help your family, you help your people, helping each other, right? Let's say that's a value.
Mhm.
And then you start thinking about different. But I imagine that people start thinking about the issues that you are not 100% convinced of. In other words, I'm totally convinced that honesty, hard work, solidarity, love for the family is a true value. I don't think I'm going to change that ever. I
Mhm.
don't.
Yeah.
But other things, maybe, let's say economic systems. Originally, I had my heart in in communitary work, communitary helping each other. I managed to go to Russia and Cuba, and I saw that the system is good in one thing, in some things, and bad on other things. I lived a few years in the U.S. Then I says, well, the capitalist system also has its problems and its flaws.
Of
But
course.
I also noticed that the Americans have many social programs, So through my life in different places, visiting different people, different countries, having different experiences with different experiences, my criteria gets suffers an evolution, if you will. It doesn't stay stagnant.
Yeah.
Maybe in 5 years or 3 years or 1 year, maybe I might change or modify or polish my belief in an economic system. So that's one of the things that I can change. So I make this introspection, and it becomes complex because of all the flow of information, Mickey.
Totally.
In your case, or in the case of any friend or person that you know,
Hmm.
which are the things that you say, this I will not change ever? And this I might vary my opinion, my conviction, my belief. This
Hmm.
I can think otherwise, maybe in a couple of years, I need to live more. I need to have more experiences. I need
Hmm.
to have more acquaintances, meeting more people, more situations. What do
Hmm.
you think is prone to change in your case?
Hmm. Well, as you mentioned, I think that it is like the same. I wouldn't change like my values, the values that I learned from my family, because at the end, I think that it is something that helps us, not just me, not just my family, like it helps us in general as society. So that will be something that I don't consider that is necessary to change. My religion either too, because um, I feel like convinced that um, well, the way how I see God and the way, and I enjoy going to the church. I enjoy going to the mass, and actually something that I have developed through time, because at the beginning when in my case I was a child, it was like, oh, it's so boring to go to the church because I need to stay there 1 hour, and you know. But then when you, as you mentioned, when you are like growing up, when you are like developing like your criteria, obviously that is influenced by many things, your family, your context. I think that more or less you start like shaping your way of thinking, and yeah, something that probably I will change, and I have changed too. I don't know. I think that for the same reason that me as a child and many other kids, we are like so easy to convince that something is correct, or that that group is like the good one and the other one is like the is obviously the bad one. I don't know, for example, something that has changed dramatically in the last years is like my image of United States.
Okay.
And it was something that, for example, when I was a child and I watched like the movies, when I watched the TV shows, they always were like the superheroes, or the group of people that help and save the world, you know. So in a way, they make you believe that that is true, and obviously when you are like growing, when you are listening to other points of views, I think that it's much easier to obviously not like be convinced totally in against like a group of people or a country or whatever, but more or less like um, how can I say this? Like put in doubt,
Okay.
uh,
Question. You question.
question yourself. Exactly. Hmm.
Yeah. That's a very smart comment. When I went to study to do my master's in the U.S. in Oregon, I
Hmm.
had a lot of prejudices about against the U.S. It was kind of the opposite.
Hmm.
I thought they were very discriminating. They lacked solidarity. They lacked respect. I thought they lacked many things because it wasn't my prejudice from
Of course.
the maybe from the family conversations, from the newspapers that I read, from the criticism from friends, etc. But when I
Hmm.
got there, I had the opposite impression. I saw that people, at least in the town where I was, which is in Ashland, were very friendly, very welcoming. They give you a lot of support. They had a lot of solidarity, probably because this program of the University of Guanajuato has an extensive number of marriages, intercultural marriages. Many men from Mexico marrying U.S. People, girls, or vice versa. Many American boys marrying Mexican women. So there is this feeling of cohesion
Hmm.
that I noticed.
Hmm.
Um, so it was a very positive experience back then. But towards me, but I also noticed that they had lots of problems as well. They have lots of people who are underpaid, lots of immigration problems, um, which is not totally their fault. That's a complex question because you impoverish a nation and then the nation is flooding you, right? Like France with the northern African countries.
Of course.
France invaded and conquered and colonized many countries from the north of Africa. And now those people are fleeing towards France and they are creating a problem. Well, the original problem was created by France when they colonized Africa, right? But that's a complex question. Let's not get into that now. But the comment is this, Mickey. Um, when I got there, I had a lot of prejudices. Some of them vanished, many of them, most of them,
Hmm.
and recently I got new ones. As you, just as you, that you say,
Hmm.
the image that I had of this country once maybe a country worth of emulating or copying or imitating or inspiring. Now it's a total disaster. Well, because it's dynamic, changes, nations change. Well, people change. Come on,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think that I don't know. It's something that I have seen with obviously people that is older than me. That sometimes is, I think that their ego talks by them. That it's so easy to. For example, I have an uncle that he is 100% pro cuarta transformación.
Pro 4T,
Pro,
really?
yeah, pro 40. Yeah, in an in a way that it's like not normal, like a way of fanatism.
Really?
And I have seen like the news that he watch, his Facebook profile, everything it's full of that, and I have like showed him, obviously not just like attacking, but like trying to first of all decrease like the fanatism. For me, at least, fanatism is something that is one of the worst things that that you can have if in, I don't know, for example, sport teams. But in politics, I think that is something that is not acceptable. And I have showed him like many datas that he can like do his own research and check that are like verified. And nope, I think that just to don't admit that he's not right or what he's supporting is not always right. He doesn't want to to listen. And it's like sad because sometimes I prefer to don't talk with him because it's not like a topic that I normally talk about. To be honest, I don't
Right.
like to talk about politics for the same reason. But I don't know how sooner or later he starts talking about it. And yeah, it's like, oh my god, you're not like part of the party, so why are you defending them like if you were there? So I don't know, but I have seen that in other people normally.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yes, yes, yes. That happens a lot. That used to happen, for example, between my mom and myself. I was almost ardent about an idea. I had this, no, but this is true. And my mom would be the opposite. No, 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 no. With this ardor, with this emotion, with this conviction. And then I kept thinking about the best example that I ever had when some guys were organizing like a gang to rent a bus to go to Leon, to come to Leon
Hmm.
and watch the finals between Irapuato and Leon in the soccer games.
Hmm.
They were, in reality, they were actually hitting each other, fighting each other. They were getting almost like weapons, like Molotov bombs, something like that. I said, how can this be? And one time I asked a guy that was really hard, and I told him about this. I asked him this question: are you gonna get something out of this fight? No, 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 no. It's the emotion, the adrenaline, what drives them. I
Hmm.
told him, well, you're gonna have some shot of adrenaline. What after that? You're gonna get like a contract. You're gonna start joining the team. They're gonna give you some money. Nothing. So
Exactly.
we fight for a cause that gives you nothing. We fight sometimes.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And it's like, I don't know. In occasions, it's like desperate because I don't know. I have seen like, for example, in my same family, uh, in a way they are like, yeah, divided by politics and for politics. So it is like, oh my god, I have a friend that his dad was um, in El PRI when Enrique Peña Nieto was the president, and he mentioned like, yeah, you can see them fighting in the Congress and all stuff, but after that, you can see them taking a coffee like if they were friends, and it's like, yeah, of course they are friends. They if one candidate is from one party, then you're gonna see it in other party, and here people, the normal people, are fighting like they're trying to defend them. A side or the other one is like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true, Mick. Actually, that reveals the true nature of, I don't know if humankind, but at least of politics, right?
Yeah.
And you see that. Have you ever been to a wrestling fight?
Yeah, of course. Like 5 times.
You've been there, right?
Yeah.
Aren't they fun?
Yeah, of course.
And you would agree probably with me that they are not 100% sincere. Let's use this word. Sometimes they are acting, aren't they?
Most of the fights, I would say that that are acting. Yeah.
Well, if you make an analogy to politics, in my opinion, of course, it's exactly the same. You are this, no, you are that, you are bad, you are worse. No, you did, no, you did. Okay, the show is over. Okay, let's go for a cup of coffee, Mickey.
Totally. Yeah, 100%. So,
So, what do we do? Well, as you say, I prefer not to talk about politics. I prefer not to get entangled, not to
hmm
get entangled
hmm
in politics, not to get entangled in politics, because then you cannot move. If you make your point very strong, all the people that like America are this and that and that and that, right? And
hmm
then you see an opportunity with a guy that likes America. Oh, I offended him with no reason. Right now we're enemies.
totally, totally. Yeah. That's we. I think that we come back at the beginning of the conversation, and it's like, and it's that the world is divided, and I think that it's for the same reason. Now with social media, it's like much easier to get uh, people divided because you can see like one point of view, then other one, then you don't know if what you watch was real or not. Then you see other ones. So yeah, it's like so easy to get involved in a lot of conversations, and without having like the context of each one. So you are like just criticizing or defending just because you believe that it is true, and ignore like the rest of ideas or point of views or like their own problems that they have too.
Yeah, that is true. There was a guy that I like very much. I haven't read a lot about him, but I read something. Cicero. He was a counsel in the Roman Senate, and he would say that it is easier to make people fight, than to make people agree on something. Maybe extreme, maybe yes, maybe not. What do you think about this phrase from Cicero?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense because I think that we as humans normally tend like to use like our emotions, and normally in conflicts it is like so easy uh to ignore like the rationality, and we just move for for emotion. So yeah, it is at least for me it makes sense.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. Well, let me move on to another interesting topic, which is about security. And there is an intense debate on militarization of public security using the
Mhm.
National Guard. Some people were against it, some people were for it. It
Mhm.
all comes to the duties of the government. But then a question that I normally pose on friends, including myself, don't think that I am exempt from this criticism. And it doesn't have to be a criticism, it's just a challenge.
Mhm.
Many of my family members say, no, the governor, the president, the mayor, the this and that. And I say this to many of my friends in the US as well. I cannot believe that the president that you have now is the very top of the pyramid of 350 million people. In other words, you have 350 million people in the US, and the current president cannot be the very, very, very best. They have to lead them. What do you think, Mickey?
Yeah, 100%. Um, I think that happens not only in the United States, in all countries. In a way, I think that the president is like the representation of a group of people that is like taking the decisions, and he's like just the face, the public face.
Okay, you said something very interesting. Is a representative of the power group or the group in
Mhm.
power, right?
Yeah.
And the same applies to Mexico. But then the question would be, if you were to ask me, and where are you? Where were you? Why don't we participate? So it's not like a Call of Duty, right? I don't know if it applies to everyone, but then if I'm not happy with the government, the local government, the state government, the national, federal government, the question would be, and where am I, right? What am I doing now?
Mhm.
If I'm willing to give that step to say, well, I'm going to get into some type of politics. For example, this is the last year of my degree. And one of the things that I'm seeking to do is to become an advisor of some senators or deputies. And there are different chambers of the government that develop laws, that dissolve laws, and so there is an opportunity to give some impact. I'm thinking this as a potential opportunity. If it materializes, it'll be
That's great.
great. But I'd like to
Yeah.
do that eventually because I do a lot of criticism right and left, here and there, close and far. And then
Of
I kept
course.
thinking to myself, well, and what am I doing, right? So, of course, that doesn't mean that any people don't have the right to talk about any topic you want. You can talk about basketball and not becoming a professional basketball player.
Mhm.
But at what point do we or should we get involved into politics, Nikki? How much should we get, or not at all? Or...
Mhm. Mm, I think that it is like difficult to get involved, not because there is not like ways of getting involved, but I think that uh, how can I say this? Um, I think that we have seen cases where the voice of the people is uh, like very low, that they can do a lot of things, and at the end, nothing changed. And I think that it's so easy uh, to lose like the hope, you know, because it's like, okay, I did this and this, and at the end, what happens? Nothing. The problems continue there. I think that obviously it's much easier to get a change when there's like a group of people, and that it's not like a change that is gonna occur from one day to other. I think that it's something that needs to that requires time, participation, sometimes money too, and that it is possible. But I think that uh, at least here in Mexico, it is like very easy to lose hope for the situations that happen here.
Well, that's a very interesting comment. Um, Imagine how the nation feeling is. You made a very interesting comment, Mickey. People losing hope. Just think of the privileged position that I think that we are in, right? I'm talking about myself, people like you, your family, people who have reached a very, very good level, a very high level of education. Um, I mean, just look at yourself. I look at myself. Look at my people, my loved ones. And I only can say thank you, God, because maybe I'm not rich, maybe I don't have many other things that I wish, but I have plenty. But let's think about those who are the great majority who don't have absolutely anything.
Mhm.
Imagine how hopeless they will be. That brings me to the back to the topic of the action that you just carried out recently, right? When are we looking for the others? I mean, what you did was amazing. I keep thinking about that and chatting about that with my friends. I'm
Thank
going to post it in my Facebook.
you.
But
Thank you, sir.
people, I haven't seen many people like that, doing like that. Yeah, there are people. When I was with the Jesuits, they collected medicine, blankets, bricks for houses, cement, sacks of cement, food, yeah, and they took it to some communities. But that was a whole organization, and they were very wealthy people. And yes, they were sharing people. They love to share. How can we expand that, Mickey? I mean, why did you come up with us with this idea, which is fabulous, so that people can be touched with this or inspired by this? How did you come up with this idea?
Yeah, I think that was a mix of different things. First of all, that was like Christmas season, and you know that normally when it's Christmas, you think in gift something, and you're like, well, it's supposed, right, that you're like more. Uh, I don't know. At least me and my family were like helping to. We're trying to help other people and do like something positive for the way and the idea that we have about Christmas. And I was like analyzing my business, and it was like, okay, my business now is like more profitable than other years. Why I don't give something back to society? I think that uh, obviously probably it's not like my obligation, but it's something that I can do, and if I can do it, why I wouldn't do it? And we thought about like kids and like the um normally like the illusion that they have probably about receiving gifts or receiving something, and I know that sometimes they don't receive that, and I imagine that for a kid uh, it's like difficult to say, oh, okay, a day that normally is like so waited for a lot of people, for them is like just another day because they don't receive nothing and they don't have like this yeah, like that illusion. So that's why we decided to do it.
This dream, yeah, this illusion, this dream.
Exactly.
Yeah, when you say illusion, tends to look like delusional, and when
Hmm.
you say a dream, it's like more something clearer, more clear, if you will. It's more attainable,
Hmm.
attainable. Whereas an illusion, it can look like it's a delusion, delusional.
Oh,
Not
okay.
necessarily, but you can use my dream. I have my dreams, a big dream, right?
Dream. Okay.
And it's very clear what you're saying, and it's very true also. So, a question that I have had, and I constantly ask this myself, I'll share it with you. And sometimes we make jokes in the in the group that we have with your dad, right? We are making a better world, and which are the parameters? Really, we make this joke. I make this joke, guys. We are making a better world. Yeah, how? Which are the parameters? How do we say today the world is a little bit better? How do we measure the ways in which the world improves?
Mm, I think that it's starting from ourselves, first of all, starting from our family, probably uh, or street or cluster. I think that uh, I turn back a little bit when I was telling to you that it's like so easy to lose hope when you want to do like a huge change and you want to change a system that a lot of years working that like that. I think that it's so easy to lose like that illusion, well, or that extreme. Um, but when you start like with little things, when you start with the people that is around you instead of waiting like the whole change, I think that mm, in a way it's easier to to get a result instead to just from one day to other try to change everything. I think that is first of all it's good to change and to do like a positive thing to your context, and then try to in a way inspire others to in a way like to makes them uh, try to, how can I say this,
Imitate, emulate.
emulate what you did.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's very true, and very important. And I think is there where the promotion of a positive image takes a big role, right? A positive image counts much more than 1,000 words. Remember this logo, this motto?
Yeah,
And it's very true, don't you think?
totalmente. Yeah, totally. Sorry.
Yeah. So, well, this is a nice, a motivating factor, a motivating factor. You want to foster the self confidence, maybe the legitimate culture or culture, the, I don't know here, the beliefs, because here is where the people can diverge, where there can be divergences, difference of opinions. I think it all begins with respecting the difference. You can think that something is good, which is opposite to what I think, and maybe I think the opposite about anything, right? For example, let me give you an example. Older people, let's say my mom, who is her mid 80s, she would probably believe that kids should be 100%, and that's true in my case, but I've seen families which are totally opposite. The kids should be in charge of their parents 100% or 80% or 90%. And another family, my aunt in Irapuato, believes the opposite, that the mother should take care of the kids even when they are grown ups. That's like a different belief of these
Mhm.
two. You analyze, obviously, the kids of the other family say, oh, it's very great because our mom gives us this, gives us this, gives us an apartment, gives us a car, gives us lots of things, which is
Mhm.
the opposite of what this other family believes. So when you contrast the beliefs of one group of people with the beliefs of the other group of people, how can you get along when there are differences? When you think something and the partner, even a family member, believes just the opposite.
Mhm.
How do you get along with that? How do you live a daily life with love, which is obvious is there, with respect, and with acceptance of the other's different opinions or beliefs? I don't know if the question is well worded, if it's clear the way I worded it, Mickey.
Yeah, yeah, it's clear. Uh, yeah, as you mentioned, it's something that it is not easy. I think that I have experience, obviously not like the same example, but something like that. Uh, and I think that yeah, it's a reality. In occasions, we're not gonna be always like um,
In
in agreement
agreement?
with the other person, and I think that sometimes it's good to understand that okay, I'm not in agree with you, and probably we are agreed that we are in disagree, but
Okay.
that doesn't have to affect like the other things where we are agree, you know. and
Okay.
and yeah, try to don't focus just like in the problem or the conflict, you know. It's something that I have more or less applied with my uncle in this case,
Okay.
because he's like, okay, obviously there's like love, there's like affection, and he has affection for me too. And I know that there are like certain topics that I prefer to avoid because you cannot control like the emotions of the others. So in a way, I prefer to don't go for that way and try to, uh, yeah, live. How can I say, like, as peace as is possible? How can I say it? Like,
As peaceful as possible, yeah.
yeah, exactly, as peaceful as possibly.
Right. Yeah, that's probably the smartest thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. Very true, Mickey. Well, let me move on to another topic, which is also interesting.
Hmm.
I was reading the, let me show it to you in a moment. Here it is. Okay, well, no, I'm going to skip this.
Okay.
These appearances. Okay, the economic impact of insecurity on businesses, investment, and real development.
Hmm.
So, some businesses can thrive because they are like home business, a home business. You take care from home, and that makes it very safe. But some other businesses, like people who work in the city market, people who have to commute to a place, you have to go to an office, you have to go to a school, you have to go to somewhere. So you need to go through the bad areas. Sometimes people by random are in a nice place, nice location. You can live in a nice community, in a nice cluster, and there will be one or two people that shouldn't be there. And how do you bypass, avoid, move around something which you don't want to get involved with? We don't want to get in touch with. How do you fix something that is constantly there that you like when I was a kid, I went to school walking on foot, and there was a dog in one of the houses.
Hmm.
He would never attack us, but he would be barking and barking and barking and frightening us. And it was we were 6 or 7 years old, so our parents told us not to cross the street because there were cars. Of course, in this time, you could do that. You could walk to school. It was something that you were allowed to do. I never allowed my girls to go on their own to school. I always took them by car, or when the school was close to home, I walked them to school. They never went by themselves. But at that time, it was common. I wanted to avoid the dog, but I couldn't cross the street. So I had to face this constant conflict and burden every day. Maybe that happens to some of us. And so you say, oh, again, this thing. So, how do we get rid of that, or we align to that? We admit, we accept that that is something that we have to live with.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I think that it's something difficult. Uh, Now that you were talking uh, about it, I was remembering like the case of a friend that um, their family their family works in the sale of fruits and vegetables, and they constantly receive like threats of
Yes,
criminal groups, obviously trying to get
yes,
payment. I think that is per week, and he was like, what else I can do if this is like everything for us, that or whole family lives from this business, and it's something very difficult, to be honest. I would love to answer it. I think that depends, like there are cases where probably you can live like that and try to ignore it or try to protect yourself as much as you can. But
yes,
in other cases, I think that is yeah, much more difficult. And obviously, me as a friend, what I told him is like, okay, well, I don't know, probably you can contract like personal security, or you can have like more cameras, or you can have, like trying give an advice, but to be honest, at that moment, I didn't know how to answer because I put myself in his feet, and it was like I don't know what I would do if I would be him.
Yeah. For example, another case is the famous bully, right? Bully.
Hmm.
I've seen kids being bullied at school.
Hmm.
When we were kids, my younger brother, not myself, because I was a bit taller than him, but he was very skinny,
Hmm.
very skinny. He was a bit short. Now he grew up and he became very strong. But when he was a kid, he was constantly bullied by other kids. When I was there, I defended him. But then when I wasn't there, they bullied him and he had to do something, right? He couldn't continue. So our dad told him to, or told us to defend ourselves. Well, you defend yourself, you need to stand up to that. You have to put up with that. Don't chicken out. Just don't get others bully you.
Hmm.
So we became kind of reactive. That
Hmm.
was one teaching. Maybe it was not the best. Maybe a smarter approach would have been try to make friends with him, try to appease him, confront him peacefully, talk to the directors, or put a stop, but don't get in a fight.
Hmm.
But well, that was our schooling. It's now 50 years later, right? So it's maybe too late to do anything about that. But then the idea was to say, when are we gonna do something towards fixing something we don't like? It's like when you have the table and one of the legs is bouncing, right? The table is bouncing. It's, well, I know the table is bouncing, but well, it doesn't hurt. And the table continues bouncing, or there is a leak in the floor and it continues leaking, or there is something that sometimes we are lazy to repair. That has happened to me. Oh,
Hmm.
I don't want to paint the wall. I don't want to do. It's lazy, and the time passes and passes and passes until maybe one day it collapses. It may not collapse. Maybe you say, it will never collapse, teacher, come on. But it can collapse. Have you seen that situation?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I don't know. For example, at the beginning when I was starting my businesses, I didn't have like a correct order of the sales that I had. And then when I was doing like the checking numbers and all stuff, it was like, oh my god, I thought that I had more money, and then just because I didn't have like the organization at the beginning, I,
Okay.
I wouldn't know like exactly how much money I gained
Okay.
in a certain period.
All right.
And at the beginning, it was like not a huge problem, but then when time passes, it was like, oh my god, now I don't remember like my stock. I don't remember what I sold, and and yeah, as you mentioned, probably it's something that you don't have like the energy, or you don't want to do it, or you are just like distracted for other things and you just ignore
Right.
it. That
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
moment.
that's true. Give me 30 seconds, Mickey. I need to open the door. Just a second,
Yes,
please.
sure, take your time.
Sorry, Mickey. Yeah, I needed to open the door.
Yes, sure, don't worry.
So it's a very interesting topic, really, really, in which we take decisions, even the decision not to act, even the decision of let go. All right, I'm going to let that go for 1 week, for 1 day, for 1 month, or forever, right? It depends on how much that mosquito is bothering you at night.
Mhm. Totally.
You say, well, I'm going to stand up and kill that mosquito. I'm just going to cover myself with a blanket.
Totally. Yeah, depends on the conflict or the situation.
Yeah, 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 that is true. And it's something that has happened to a lot of people very often, right? Where you say, well, I'm going to take action now. It's not enough is enough. Or will you say, no big deal. I just let go. It's not a big deal, right? So that's an important decision when you determine no big deal. on when you say enough is enough, time for action,
Mhm.
and that's a personal thing, I guess. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think that I don't know, something that has happened to me is that when something is like bothering me, but not like in a extreme way, uh, I can sometimes like let it, how can I say, like let it be, like try to ignore, try to don't pay a lot of energy and emotions there. But there are moments that that's something that is bothering me, or that it's
Uh-huh.
annoying me. Um, it's like so present that from one day or other I need to do something, because it's like, okay, I know that there are things that I can ignore and probably doesn't happen or nothing occurs, but there are others that I need to solve, because if not, yeah, as you mentioned, can collapse and affect me directly.
I believe that decision depends on your judgment, on our accurate judgment of the potential risks of letting go. I let that go. I don't care. I don't pay too much attention, so I let it go. Or if you feel defied, if there is a defiance by the situation, sometimes situations pose a defiance. They defy you. They say, "Are you up to the task or not?" Like a bully, a problem, an opportunity, right? They move you. They compel you to do something. That's a compelling situation. I need to take action, right?
Totally, yeah.
And sometimes it's worthless to do anything. The case of the mosquito. I say, oh, a mosquito. It's a nuisance. Am I going to stand up, wake up, and kill him, or I'm just going to cover my head and try to sleep? So I believe in life there are many situations like that in which we need to make an accurate assessment of the situation and then determine the course of action. And that's, I think, something that is prone for a good thought analysis, Mickey.
Totally, because if not, I think that it's so easy that your energy um,
It's
gets
drained.
drained.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, when you have a lot of things in your mind, but at the end you don't do like an assessment, and the things continue there, and you try to ignore it, but you know that in a way or other it's affecting you. So yeah, it trains you.
Yeah. Well, what an interesting conversation. A bit
Yeah,
abstract, maybe,
a little bit.
but yet positive and very, very good. And I enjoyed a lot always, Mickey. Thank you very much for sharing your
Me too,
thoughts.
teacher. Thank you for your time too. uh well, teacher, see you the next week.
Of course, take care, Mickey.